I think we're late. We're late, everybody. Yeah,
Yes,
I
we are.
know. I know we're late. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what happened, but yeah, we're late by 2 minutes. So I'm for once actually late. What is up, everybody? It is me, Real American, back in with a new stream, and that is right. We are live on this beautiful February 12th, 2025. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm having a great day myself, and we are joined by Mr. Real Texan, like usual.
Hello.
So we got some breaking news, a lot of stuff happening across the world. Big news with Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, big news with Russia, a lot of new inflation numbers, not looking good. There's a lot to get to. Now, before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. These are all great ways to support the daily content, and if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or just want to support the channel even further, best way is sending super chats via the chat. Again, I read through as much chat as possible, but usually super chats best way your questions answered. And already we've got a couple of super chats to read through. A glitch Eevee for 2. Mitch McConnell going to Mitch McConnell. Yeah, Mitch McConnell's worthless. A glitch Eevee for 2. Now confirm RFK Jr. Confirm Kash Patel. Yes. Nicholas loves traveling for 5. Since Democrats won the Iowa State Senate in the 35th District, it concerns me how Republicans will perform in 2026 and 2028. But what's your thoughts? That was a low turnout race. I don't think it's going to decide anything. So
It didn't really move much from 2024, though.
yeah. So. All right, a glitch Eevee for 2, late non-American politics. I know I'm late. All right, I know. I'm late. We get the point. But yeah, so the big story of this morning was Tulsi Gabbard just got confirmed as the U.S. Director of National Intelligence. Thank God. I was getting worried there, but Trump basically forced her through. Susan Collins voted for her. Murkowski voted for her. But there's one person that didn't vote for her. You can probably guess who that is. And Super Chat actually said that.
Mitch McConnell.
Yep. Mitch McConnell was the only Republican to vote against Tulsi. Really?
And here's the other thing. Bernie didn't vote for her either, which was expected. But that's a massive slap in the face.
That is just a FU. For those that... Actually, should I pull the clip? Should I pull up what happened in 2016?
Yeah.
To show people why this is such a scummy thing Bernie did. For those that don't know, Tulsi Gabbard stuck her neck out for Bernie back in 2016. For those that don't know, she was the vice chair of the DNC. In 2016, she was the vice chair. And she stuck out her political career's neck for Bernie. Because she stepped down saying, this is bullshit what happened to Bernie Sanders. This was rigged. That's what she said. And this is how Bernie decided to repay her. By a slap in the face. By voting against her. What was his excuse?
Something about Assad or whatever.
But there's been tweets from 2019 and 2020 where Bernie is saying, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard's not a foreign agent. She served in the military.
And then once, when she becomes a Republican, he changes his mind.
Yeah. What an FU. I mean, the scum, I just cannot believe the scum of these people. Like, they're so scummy for doing this. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard risked her entire career. She's not a Democrat anymore because of this. That's one of the main reasons. And you decide to do this to her?
Now it's either that or he's just boycotting everybody because of Elon Musk.
No, he just freaking a dumbass. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I don't get how anyone can look at this and say, oh, yeah, that's normal. Totally normal to vote against your friend because of politics. Inari for 5. Bernie's gone from Democrat contrarian to Democrat establishment shill. Exactly! He has become an establishment shill. I mean, the fact that he's voting against people like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK? Same thing with Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, it's truly unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate.
Oh, hello, Luke.
Mitch McConnell. How's it going? Mega Mal popping in.
So, yeah, we were talking about how Bernie Sanders voted against Tulsi.
Yeah, that was expected. He's an establishment shill now.
I mean, I just can't, but still.
By the way, it's sounding like RFK Jr. is going to get no Democrat votes.
On freaking these people.
So, yeah. Looks, because there was a
Here's the thing. I think Sheldon Whitehouse probably wanted to vote for him, but he's probably just being like forced not to.
Ron Wyden in Oregon.
I think they're just boycotting because of Elon Musk.
I mean, these
That's what
people.
Schumer wants them to do.
Just think about this for a second. The Democrat Party, every single Democrat is voting against a Kennedy. Think about that.
I mean, the Kennedy family themselves disowned him, so.
I think it's safe to say, like, Democrats are just the establishment party
Yeah.
nowadays.
I mean,
Like, there are no anti-establishment Democrats left. Like, that's just a fact.
yeah, Bernie was like the last major one in the party, but now he's not.
And now he's an establishment shill, yeah.
I guess you could say Tulsi Gabbard was, but she bailed. So, an RFK.
Breaking
Again,
news.
yeah, all these people are Republicans now.
Breaking news. We just got a poll from Georgia.
Oh boy, what is it?
What?
This is from the Tyson Group poll for the Senate race. Kemp +7.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Dude, if Kemp runs, that race is over.
I mean,
Like,
the Democrats look cooked in Michigan, by the way. They are in deep shit there. They are in deep shit in Michigan.
yeah, I'm gonna do a Senate prediction later today, actually.
I might do one. I might not this month, maybe next month, because I want to see more polls first.
I'll probably release one at some point.
All right, American Nerd for 2. So
yeah, we need you to upload more. We need you to start uploading Real Section. We need you to be the Texas arm of Real American politics.
That's real.
I'll wait till I fight off this probably virus I have.
All right, American Nerd for 2. So what was the final vote for Tulsi? 52-49. It was 52-48. That's the final vote. So
yeah.
American Nerd for
Bro, even Lisa Murkowski is more useful than
Murkowski. I mean, like, here's what I think happened. I think Trump's Justice Department is saying, okay, if you vote against Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, there's some corruption charges against you. That's what I think happened here.
Yeah, she's very corrupt, so that's probably what they're doing.
I mean, I think they should go after Mitch McConnell now. If he wants to play games like this, I'm gonna go look up his wife. I mean, just like the amount of corruption these people have, I guarantee you look for 5 minutes and they could get a charge on him. You think I'm exaggerating?
I love though how Lisa Murkowski, someone who didn't even vote for Trump in 2024, has a better voting record than Mitch McConnell, who is the guy who introduced the Kentucky delegates for Trump.
Yeah, I think that's because they have corruption charges against her, and she wants to survive. Mitch McConnell, he does not care. He does not give a shit anymore.
Well, he's just gonna retire, and if he doesn't, he's getting cooked in that primary.
Yeah, so
like, dude, it's gonna be Liz Cheney. It's gonna be Liz Cheney 2.0, dude.
Honestly, I think he does worse than Liz Cheney.
Yeah,
because Democrats aren't going to save him.
He might only get 5% of the vote if he runs. He might not even get 5%. Who likes him anymore? Because his only his last his legacy was he got the pro-life judges on the Supreme Court, and that was about the judges. That was the main thing that saved him. But now he's voted. He voted for basically every single.
He could be trying to appeal to Democrats right now. If he does decide to run, it
doesn't matter. In a state like Kentucky, there's only so much. Like, that's what Liz Cheney did, and how did that go?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, she tried to appeal to the Jackson Hole Democrats.
Yeah, that didn't go too good.
That's her base.
American Nerd for 3. Thoughts of Andy Barr running if Mitch retires? Daniel Cameron's gonna win that race. That's Cameron's.
The fact that Andy Barr is only running if Mitch retires just kind of goes to show what kind of senator Andy Barr would be.
Yeah, he's literally gonna bend over. So.
Now, he would probably be a yes man, a Trump man, but...
Yeah, it sounds like Daniel Cameron's running no matter what. So much for that theory, by the way, that he's a puppet of Mitch McConnell. So...
Yeah, Cameron...
Wait, was Andy Barr the guy who ran against that third worldist in 2022?
Yeah, I think it was.
Remember there was that third worldist Democrat?
Oh, yeah, the one guy is like, Ukraine first or whatever. Or was it Russia?
No, he was super anti...
Yeah, it was Russia
it was like...
Now,
I'm pretty sure that guy was like a Russian plant. He was like campaigning with Jackson Hinkle.
Oh, God.
Now, my preferred candidate here would probably be Nate Morris.
I don't think he's going to run, though. Is he going to run?
I think we should run Nathan Brubaker.
Well, what I think's going to happen is going to be Daniel Cameron. He's running.
You guys remember Nathan Brubaker from election Twitter?
No.
That dude?
All right.
He was like, I'm not going to explain the lore. Just someone else.
Oh, gosh. And so we have for 27, Just Blue versus Red. Dems are today's Roman Optimates. Well, I mean, yeah. All they do is just, it doesn't matter who it is now. They're just going to vote against it. I mean, you're voting against...
Can we talk about how Oh yeah, in a minute we got to talk about how Republicans are actually like matching 2024 in low
Yeah,
turnout
that's big. The
elections now.
Westchester election. I know that's a little bit misleading, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, we got
Yeah.
breaking news out of Arizona. So Taylor Robeson announced her candidacy today.
WWWW.
Well, the first poll came out, and yeah, so much for that argument. That's what I want to say.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
because she's just announced now, and a lot of people
Bullshit!
don't know about the Trump
Okay.
endorsement. That's good.
Oh,
Dude, here's the thing.
Hobbs is beating her. That's the current poll right now. Hobbs up by 2.
And how is Biggs doing?
He's up by 1.
Okay, who is this from? Because that is,
Is
and how
how's
much
that-
of that is just like, how much of that is
from?
just like primary voters saying they won't vote for her, but then will vote for her when the general comes
doesn't
I
along?
like-
think,
Because polls
regardless,
said
it's going to be a
Polls
very
said the
competitive
exact
primary,
same
so-
thing in 22. They were like Lake would win by 7, but Robeson would barely win. Like there were a bunch of polls like that in 22, and that obviously didn't pan out in the end. So I think a lot of it is just like people will say they won't vote for her, but then when she wins the primary,
Well, we'll
she'll.
see other
The
polls. We're getting a
poll
bunch
is
of those.
American
So.
Encore. American Encore is the poll.
I've never heard of that poll in my life. Until we see more like actual reputable polls that say that, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, we'll wait.
and
But I'm just
see.
saying it's the first poll.
Also, there is an extension of the Tyson Group poll
All right.
for Georgia. So Kemp +7, obviously. Ossoff +2 against Buddy Carter.
Yeah, I'm not
And
surprised. That's name recognition right there.
I gotta hold on. Ossoff +12 against Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Just don't run her. Just don't. Why are we gonna run her? Why?
Well, I got a question. Against Buddy Carter, what percent was Ossoff polling at?
47.
Yeah, that's just name recognition. That's what it comes
Kemp is
down to.
That's not good. If you as an incumbent, like against a no-name challenger like Buddy Carter, are polling at only 47,
Yeah, you're
like
cooked.
he's just not a very strong candidate. If
Okay,
we don't run Marjorie Taylor Greene, we're probably winning the race. But we should run Kemp because
Kemp's
Kemp will
running.
just shore it up.
Well, Kemp's
Actually,
Yeah.
wait, I think I got the numbers wrong. Hold on.
Kemp is gonna be a party line vote, so I don't care.
All right. Sorry. Kemp +8. I went up. Ossoff +8 against Buddy Carter. So that's just name recognition. But
Yeah, that's.
let me pull. All right. Let me just say the actual numbers. Kemp 49, Ossoff 42.
Oh my gosh.
Ossoff 47, Buddy Carter 39. Ossoff 51, MTG 39.
Yeah, I mean, Ossoff would kill Taylor Greene. So, all right.
At that point, you might even see the governor race go down in that scenario.
Yeah, I think just run Kemp. Buddy Carter would probably win 2, but Kemp would win easy. All right, M for 5. Repeal the Impoundment Act. It's the only way. Congress on both sides are too corrupt and spineless. I have no clue what that is.
And with I hope MTG runs anyways. Just so
Well, she would get killed in the primary. I don't even think Trump would back her, because he would know that race is a lost cause.
I think he would probably make a deal with Kemp to endorse him. He may do a co-endorsement, but
Or just stay out of the race completely.
I don't want MTG running in the primary though. Just like I know Kemp would win, but I don't want there to be like a bloody primary.
I
Just
know.
waste
I understand the
resources.
concern, but
Just
I don't
get
even
her
think
out.
it'd be bloody
It wouldn't be
because I mean I think
I know,
Lee
but
would-
just I don't want to. You know how many mega boomers would donate to MTG
Oh,
instead
I
of donating to
Well,
the general?
I
yeah, but
actually-
they'd all be from out of
a
state.
lot
They'd
of
all
them are
be from
not
outside
happy
of
with
Georgia,
her.
though.
There's a lot of them not
They would
happy
all-
with her anymore.
They
so.
would all be out. They would all be from outside of Georgia.
Yeah, but like my argument is like
Exactly, but every dollar that they donate to MTG could be donated to an actual
Yeah,
winnable race.
But
in
my
the general.
argument is
Think
like
about it
a
that
bunch
way.
of the MAGA base don't even like her anymore. So
No, most boomers like her. Like it's kind of
Not
like
as much as 5
online
years
we don't
ago.
like her.
Well, it's not. I mean, you probably gotta go outside of like online spaces.
Yeah, because outside of online spaces, mega boomers still love her. Like
Now, I don't think she would, dominate a county map even in rural areas. I think she'd only win like a few counties, probably
she'd
like
probably
the rural
just win
part.
the counties in her districts.
Yeah,
like
I think
probably
really
just up there.
I think really only just the rural, like very rural parts of her district.
yeah.
Like not even the Chattanooga suburbs would vote for her.
All right.
Like maybe where Trenton is, that's probably it, and in like a couple of rural counties.
Let's see. M for 5 is the Arizonian. I don't know. Katie Hobbs is despised in my state. I think either one could win. You forget we have a way better Maricopa County reporter. That's another thing. It's like we got a county reporter that has a brain. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Biggs would win, but again, we'll wait. We'll wait and see what happens. We shall see.
I'm just not trusting because the poll said the exact same thing about Lake, and I think Trump endorsed Robeson. I think it's just safe unless he like if Trump were to like withdraw his endorsement, then I probably get behind Biggs. But if Trump endorsed Robeson and everyone who's not Freedom Caucus endorses Robeson, which it seems like is what's going to happen, I think it's safe to just go with Robeson
The way that
because
I see,
I'm going to
I
go with
think
the candidate who the party's united around, not just the party the Freedom Caucus wants, or the candidate the Freedom Caucus wants.
I think Trump in the end will probably just do a co-endorsements like right before the primary is done.
I doubt it. I think he's sticking with Robeson. I don't think he's.
Yeah, Luke, I checked the polls from 2022. They actually showed Lake and Hobbs are about the same, or Lake and Robeson. It's like literally about the same. So
Yeah, and how did that? No, Robeson would have outrun Lake. Like,
yeah, no, Ropes actually
there's
helped
no.
polls. So your point's moot then. If the polls back then were showing like Robeson doing a little bit better than Lake,
What
which do about the same.
percent is Okay, what percent is Katie Hobbs polling at in both of those polls right now?
40 and 43, I think it was. She's not
Yeah,
like
so
Let me,
a
there's
lot
let
of
me
it.
look at the actual
Oh yeah,
numbers.
the reason she's at 40 with Andy Biggs is because
no,
Andy Biggs probably has
no. She's at 40
what?
against Robeson.
Exactly. That
Let me
just
go to
goes
the
to
poll.
show that there's
You just said
yeah, so she's
Biggs. You just said
well
Biggs.
no
Now you changed
no,
it.
if she's polling at 40 with Robeson, that means that there's like more undecideds in that race. That doesn't mean that like she's more popular against Robeson. It actually shows he's less popular. It's just less people have an opinion on Robeson than have an opinion on Biggs.
Yeah,
That's all
but
that
like,
shows.
Let me
whatever.
let me say the numbers here. So Biggs, it's 44 to 43. Robeson, Hobbs leads 40 to 38. So
Either way, both numbers are
a
not good
lot of
for
it is
her.
That's
a lot
just
of
a
it is
name
name recognition.
recognition thing.
It's
There's a
name
lot
recognition,
more
I think,
to
for both of them.
attack. There is a lot more to attack Biggs on. All I can say is Biggs has said a lot. Biggs literally came out in favor of abolishing the filibuster to like ban abortion, so that's
Oh,
not
Luke,
going
you
to
want
be
to talk
very good.
what Robeson said about 2020 and about abortion? Want to go look that one up?
Oh, that she said she would enforce the ban that existed at the time. Like
Oh no,
that's
it gets
not even
worse than
that.
that, Luke.
Like the 1860s ban.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I understand. Like, I'm
Well, that
not.
ban's no longer in place. I don't know. I just don't. I just think if Trump backs out of endorsing Robeson, then I'll be open to supporting Biggs. But if everyone who's not Freedom Caucus gets behind Robeson, which is what it's looking like is going to happen, I think it's safe to go with Robeson. I don't want to do this 2022 repeat
Lake
again
is
with the
not
competitive
Big's not
primaries.
Lake. First of all, that's not the reason Lake is so.
Dude, you said the exact. I've heard this exact same argument in 2022 in a lot of these races, and
What?
I don't want to repeat
How
22.
can you
Yes,
say that about
like
2020?
Doug. Like I know you weren't one of the people, but I remember watching Red Eagle's stream and him saying that Doug Mastriano was actually more electable than Lou Barletta because he would get the base out and stuff like that. I know you weren't, but many people in this community were saying these exact same things. I'm not saying he's Doug Mastriano, but I'm just saying that like. This was the mindset in 2022, and I don't want to repeat it. It's that simple.
American Nerd for 5. Speaking of MTG, I saw her on TV earlier this morning for the first hearing of the Oversight Doge Subcommittee, and who made her the chair of that? Probably Trump. Just being honest, Trump probably did it. But Tessa's down for 2. United around the one who is down 30 in the primary polls. Actually 60 right now. But again, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a name recognition thing,
She
and that's
ran
because
for
she hadn't
governor
even
4 years,
announced
2
it.
years ago. What do you mean that's a name recognition thing?
You think people remember candidates from then? Not really.
Yeah.
Most people aren't as
that.
in touch with politics as you'd think.
People, like, I'm not saying every single person remembers her, but a good chunk would.
Oh
And
no, and again,
she's
we
at
have to see
12%.
more polls for that. And
Yeah.
she didn't even announce yet. She hadn't even announced officially.
All right, M for 10. Personally, the issue with Arizona is really such a divisive state. Half established and barely up, half of MAGA. I don't know if the two sides will be united, except for one. Everyone hates Biden. Well, Trump united the base, but yeah. Again, we'll see though. We'll see. We shall see. All right. Big's at 50% primary polls. He's like 70, I thought. One of them.
70% in the poll in the primary.
Again, most people thought that like he was the only candidate running because Robeson hadn't announced
Bullshit!
or even started a camp. She hadn't announced or started a
That doesn't
campaign until
explain.
today.
Look, I'm sorry. That does not explain a 60-point
It
gap. Or whatever.
We'll
it
see.
is.
I highly doubt it's even gonna be in the 70s in like a week.
I'm not going to say that either, but like to say that that's the explanation for a 70-point gap.
All I'm saying, man, is Trump united the establishment and anti-establishment in Arizona in 2020. And if you ask me, who's more likely to do that in this governor race, a hardline Freedom Caucus member or a more like moderate Republican who has the Trump endorsement, it's going to be the more moderate Republican who has the Trump endorsement. And I think that's the safer pick.
Whatever. We'll see when she gets crushed in the primary next year. We shall see. But anyways, okay. But yeah, so anyways, we got to talk about the we talked about the
Murkowski's voting for RFK.
I saw that. And freaking McConnell, I swear to God, he's gonna vote against him, isn't he? Is he gonna vote against
Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell sucks ass. He's freaking.
I'm a turtle fan. I love the turtle. I'm kidding.
That guy is
I'm not
utterly
that
worthless.
Apparently, the Moon Pie company hates Florida.
Why?
Probably politics. I don't know.
But yeah, anyways, we got some big news out of Russia today. Do you guys hear about this? So,
yeah, Donald Trump is selling America out to evil Putin.
Bruh,
how dare you?
That's real. Let's see here.
This is proof that Russia hacked the results again.
Real.
Oh yeah, and Worcester, Massachusetts is now a transgender sanctuary city.
I saw that. Oh God, here we go with this crap.
Did you see the Gaza protesters were like pouring blood on themselves outside of Starbucks?
What?
Oh yeah, they had like blood in a cup and then they poured it and then they had a die-in.
Literally fucking the kid in Jordan who's in the area saying they want to do something with Trump. So what are they protesting about?
They don't like Jordan.
Starbucks is operates in Israel. I don't even know why they hate Starbucks so much.
No, it's because of like some union thing. I don't know. I think a Starbucks union wanted to support Palestine and Starbucks wouldn't allow it. So now they think that Starbucks is contributing to genocide and et cetera, et cetera.
American Nerd for 2. Luke, what about McCormick or Lake Salt or Brown? What about them?
What?
I don't know.
I don't know. Black Salt or
and Brown
McCormick was a good kid. Well, I'm actually, with hindsight, I'm glad that McCormick lost to Oz because then McCormick would have lost in 2022 just because of turnout, and then we definitely wouldn't have beat Casey. And so I'm kind of glad he lost that primary with hindsight. Oz, I think, was the kid. Like, I don't regret supporting Oz.
He was our best.
It's just no one was winning that. No one was winning that primary. Well, I mean, McCormick probably would have done better than Oz, but still, like with hindsight, he would have lost, and we wouldn't have won back Pennsylvania in 24, So.
All right. Kylie Rooney for 5. Family in Arizona hates Robeson for scamming old people for donations. They'll soon vote for Hobbs than Robeson. Same for me. Again, like there's some stuff about Robeson that will not be popular in Arizona, but I'm not saying she loses. I just think that if we're gonna win either way.
Okay, all I'm saying is if you're like one of these America First types and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to vote for Hobbs over Robeson to screw it to the establishment, I never want to hear you guys like complain again about moderate Republicans voting for like Democrats over hardliners, like, because you're just as bad. Like, we can have disagreements about the primaries, but we should, no matter who wins the primary, like support the Republican candidate. Like, I get it. It's like, yeah, vote red no matter who. That's what we need to do. Like, if Andy Biggs wins the primary, I will be fully supporting him for the general. Like, I think this is stupid to say, oh, I'm going to vote for Hobbs if my candidate doesn't get, like, no, don't do that.
Now,
vote red no matter who, says the Chinese guy.
Exactly.
That's real. But yeah, anyways, so we have to, so we do got some pretty big news out of Russia just an hour ago. Hold on. Inari for 5. What if Oz ran in Kansas somewhere over the rainbow? Oz would have probably won, I'm guessing, but I don't know.
Well, Oz would have won in like any red. I miss Oz. If Oz and McCormick were both in the Senate, that would be great because it would be the first moderate MAGA Senate delegation. But we missed out on one of them.
But yeah, so anyways, for
Very
those that
sad.
don't know, Trump just put out a pretty big announcement on Truth Social a little while ago. I'm gonna read it for everybody. So, this is from Trump. I just had a lengthy and highly productive phone call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. We discussed Ukraine, the Middle East, energy, artificial intelligence, the power of the dollar, and various other subjects. We both reflected on the great history of our nations and the fact we fought so successfully together in World War II. Oh, that's gonna piss off some people for saying that.
Call Tucker Carlson. He's gonna get. Actually, no. Tucker changes his position on like Russia and World War II like every other day. Like he was debating Piers Morgan. He was like, "We were on the wrong side of World War II. We should have been fighting against the communists." But then he had Oliver Stone on his show, and Oliver Stone was like, "Oh yeah, the Soviets won the war, and we just helped." And Tucker was like, "I agree totally." So Tucker just doesn't have a consistent viewpoint anymore on stuff like this.
Remembering that Russia lost tens of millions of people and we likewise lost so many, we each talked about the strength of our respective nations and the great benefit that we will someday have in working together. But first, we both agreed we want to stop the millions of deaths taking place in the war with Russia and Ukraine. President Putin even used my strong campaign motto of common sense. We both believe very strongly in it. We agreed to work together very closely, including visiting each other's nations. Oh, really? So Trump invited Putin to America. Oh, boy.
Pretty sure he has an arrest warrant in America from the ICC. So
no, we don't recognize the ICC.
Yeah, the ICC is garbage now.
Oh, I think under Biden we did, but
How do you think Netanyahu was able to come here under Biden? Because we don't have the ICC. That's only in Europe. If he went to Europe, he'd.
Let's see here. We have also agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately, and we will begin by calling President Zelenskyy of Ukraine to inform him of our conversation, something which I will be doing right now. I've asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of the CIA John Ratcliffe, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Ambassador Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to lead the negotiations, which I feel strongly will be successful. Millions of people have died in the war that would have never happened if I was president, but it did happen. So it must end. No more lives should be lost. I want to thank President Putin for his time and effort with respect to this call, and for the release yesterday of Mark Fogel, a wonderful man that I personally greeted last night at the White House. I believe this effort will lead to a successful conclusion, hopefully soon. So basically the war is about that.
Oh yeah.
That's what's going on.
This is what I will say is great that I'm glad Trump is ending, and it was this Biden era policy that I was worried that it was going to continue in a different direction under Marco Rubio, but luckily it's not. Was basically this idea that like if you don't like a world leader like Putin, you just stop talking to him and cut him off and like act like he doesn't exist. That's what Biden did, and I was worried that's what the Trump admin was going to do with like Maduro and Venezuela. Like the way Marco Rubio came in, he's like, I'm only going to talk to the real president of Venezuela. I was kind of worried, but then. Like apparently Rick Grinnell is like going to Venezuela and doing all the discussions there. So I think that's kind of averted. So if Rubio doesn't want to talk to him, Grinnell will. But I'm so glad that we're kind of like past this and we're gonna have like discussion with Putin and like Xi and these other people that well Biden didn't stop convo with Xi because like Xi didn't invade anything. But still like it's important to have like discussion with all the world leaders, including unsavory ones like Putin and Maduro.
All right. President Gilbert, giddy up for 5. I'm signing the executive order to order more verbal slap fights at stream. My first act as president. Real. But yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, I think Trump's doing more executive orders today.
Yeah, he's doing some a little bit. But yeah, so it looks like the war is about to end.
I will say, now this isn't confirmed, but there was a discussion that Mark Halperin was reporting that apparently several White House people told him, and it was a big deal involving China. And it may or may not involve a deal with Taiwan, where Taiwan kind of gets like kind of what the UK did with Hong Kong in the 90s. Like that would end up happening to Taiwan, but in exchange, China would become basically not really a US ally, but they become like kind of strategic partners on some things, and they would support like the US in annexing Greenland and things like that.
So we basically be on a time stamp. We have to have X number of decades before we have to manufacture our own chips and actually be able to replace what we're getting from them between now and then.
Yeah, and largely what would happen, I think a lot of the chip companies would probably just move here under that plan because I don't think a lot of them want to do business in Chinese Taipei. You know, I think they'd probably just end up moving here.
You know, the thing with I mean, they're already moving here in Arizona, at least.
Which I mean, if we can like avert a Cold War with China, like I think that would be a massive W for Trump if Trump managed to get that to happen.
All right. So, anyways, in regards to this, I'm hearing nothing but good news. I was a little bit nervous before because of some of the rhetoric I had been hearing at the start of the administration, and I also was a little bit perplexed by the what was it, like $500 billion mineral resource deal. It seems like that happened between Ukraine and the United States, where we were getting access to their rare earth minerals. And the primary reason I was concerned about that is because if the 4 oblasts that Russia currently controls are not ceded to Russia, there will continue to be a perpetual ethnic conflict in this region of the world, and it will end with mass migration. It will end with mass ethnic cleansing. It will end one way or another very poorly for one side of the situation. And so I feel a lot more optimistic with the rumors and with this news right now. I'm not exactly sure if the mining resources was leverage to use in negotiations or what exactly. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. But what I do understand is that we're getting very close, and Pete Hegseth echoed that Ukraine can't hold its current borders, pre-2014 borders, which everybody understood. And it
Wow.
sounds like that's being echoed again
I
and
was
again.
told
And
if Kamala won, that Ukraine would be able to get back Crimea and get into. That's what I was told by Twitter, that Kamala Harris would have given Crimea back. You know, that's totally how it works.
I know that sounds like a very mundane statement because everybody understood Crimea wasn't going back under any circumstances, but we did have foreign policy advisors insane enough to demand Crimea go back just a couple of years ago. It was a really, really bad situation where we were going to be stuck in perpetual war with Russia. So yeah, at the end of the day, what I think is happening, I think that there may be some sort of negotiation between Trump and Putin about how the U.S. could benefit from the Donbass's mineral supplies while allowing them to function under Russian sovereignty. So that is a really, I ultimately for the ethnic Russians that have been Ukrainian citizens this whole time and whose basic religious rights have been completely stamped into oblivion. I actually think that's a really good thing. I think it's a good thing if there's any other ethnic Russians in the rest of Ukraine that want to stay in Ukraine but don't want to be in, former like actual Russia proper. I think they have a place now, and so everybody can just get to one side of the border, and we can stop having this. And I think honestly, right now, it sounds most like I didn't think it was likely before. Most likely scenario, I think right now, DMZ in northeast Ukraine, the Donbass and the other 2 oblasts go to Russia. Crimea goes to Russia, and Ukraine gets kind of a permanent, probably a permanent occupation in southwest Ukraine.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, John, but we got breaking news from the federal judge.
Breaking
news, everybody. A federal judge has ruled that President Trump does in fact have constitutional authority to freeze or limit certain federal funding.
So that's over. Let's go.
This means Trump White House can withhold funding without the district court's prior approval. Take the L already. Can these people just go away? I mean, you just wasted 24 hours for that. And now the court actually reaffirmed Trump has the power to do it. These idiots just... I don't think they understood what they just did. They just gave Trump more power by doing that crap. If they just would have stayed quiet, this wouldn't have happened. But now a court officially said, yeah, Trump can actually freeze federal funding for certain things as long as he follows the law, which he's doing.
Well, yeah, this is a very beneficial situation. It prevents a constitutional crisis. It prevents other things that would have happened if the Trump administration had to become more aggressive. I'm glad that the courts are reeling themselves in because they This is the courts losing a little bit of power that they didn't deserve in the first place versus losing a massive amount of power they would have by prolonging the situation. So very good for our country.
Yeah. K Cup for 5. Luke, don't worry so much about a Cold War with China. We have walkthrough guides of Metal Gear Solid 3. We know how to stop it. Just kidding, obviously. That's real. That is real. But yeah, so now
to quote Donald Trump, I just want to stop the world from killing itself. You
That's
know,
real.
it's that simple.
now the real question is, and it's unlikely, but this probably still goes to the Supreme Court because Democrats, they just can't help themselves. I mean, they're playing a dangerous game now because a judge has reaffirmed he has the power to do this stuff. What would happen if they actually appeal this to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court says, oh, actually, the unitary executive theory is actually correct? For those that don't know, if they actually rule on that, that gives the president basically unlimited power for the executive branch.
That'd be interesting.
They're playing a dangerous game with this. I don't get why they sued in the first place. They're just giving Trump more powers.
I know, it's crazy.
Do they actually think that this was going to go well for them? That they were going to magically win? Like, oh, the courts will say, yeah, the president can't even look at documents?
They're just coping. They're just trying to get any win they can. It's sad.
Ryan, and you have to also remember, we heard the immediate conflict of interest with one of these specific activist judges whose wife is working with USAID. So that news came out earlier. But like this is what we said.
Is
a lot of these
not being funded by USAID? Like,
well, very, very strictly, my point is that there was a conflict of interest going on here, and the district judges had to get in the way because possibly their money was being affected by these moves. Not all of them, but many.
The wife of a judge blocking Trump administration is a USAID grant recipient. I mean, is it really a surprise, though? Is there not a single person in the government that's not funded by USAID?
Me.
Yeah, and me also.
Not the government. Actually, I am being funded by USAID.
Alright, Jacob.
By the way, apparently that new Captain America movie isn't doing too good with critics.
Wow. A shitty Captain America movie without Captain America? Wow.
I just said, I actually had high hopes. That movie actually looked interesting compared to, like, the other slop, but then, like, now, like, with the shit they're saying, it's like, Captain America doesn't represent just America anymore. It's like, what's the point?
Well,
like, what's he supposed to...
The movie, you could clearly tell they were banking on Harris winning. Because they reshot the entire movie, like, 3 times, and they thought that, oh yeah, Harris is gonna win. So they made the movie like that.
Bro.
Dumbasses. Why the hell would you tie real-world politics in your movie? Why?
Okay, dude. You may disagree with me, but I think that's fucking hilarious when like liberal Hollywood makes those movies. Like, I actually enjoy them. Like, when they clearly have a bias, dude. Like, that's kind of why I was so pissed at this Civil War movie that came out last year, because that movie like was trying to be so unbiased, and it was like they weren't giving any of the details about the ideological motivation. So it's just like, who am I supposed to be rooting for? You know, like I can't root for the villains because all we know about the villain is that he's like a president who bombs people. Like that's literally all we know. We have no idea which side like he's on of the political aisle.
It was literally just Ron Swanson. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's like from Parks and Rec, you know, it's like his later life, you know, he goes from being like a local politician to getting elected president, and then he becomes a dictator basically. And we don't have any motivation for like ideological reasons. Like, and I'm like, I wish so much that they made him like Trump, and that like the resistance for like liberals and they were like fighting for freedom. That would have been an entertaining movie, okay? Like instead of what we got. So if they make the Captain America movie like a resistless fan fiction, like I would unironically probably enjoy it. I'll just say that.
Alright, Trump, Jacob Holly for 10. Trump is a populist Republican version of FDR. Tulsi RFK Jr. now How do you say his name? The guy from Illinois, Rod
Blagojevich.
Yeah. in Illinois. Awesome. I hope all the old
I'm
members of the
telling you, man, I'm so sad they canceled the Lightning Rod podcast. I was like the one listener of that podcast. Yeah, he had a podcast called The Lightning Rod, and it had like so few listeners that he canceled it after like 50 episodes. I was one of the listeners. I listened to that every day, dude.
I hope the old members of the Supreme Court retires so Trump can get new young justices. Oh yeah, Thomas is retiring, Alito's retiring, maybe Roberts. So, and with the
I would
Democrat,
say do it before the midterms, but
Oh,
we're
yeah.
guaranteed this. Actually, maybe wait till after the midterms because it looks like we're going to expand our Senate majority.
yeah. All right, American Nerd for 5. Rap. Aren't all the conservative / originalist justices like Thomas Alito Gorsuch against the unitary executive theory? Look up what Thomas said about it a couple years ago.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Senate majority, John, did you see the Georgia polls?
I did not.
Yeah,
Kemp is
so
up by 7.
Trump's up by
yeah,
7.
let me go back over.
No,
them again.
Kemp's up by 7
Kemp.
against Ossoff.
Yeah, so it's Kemp plus 7 against Ossoff. Ossoff plus 8 against Buddy Carter, and Ossoff plus 12 against MTG.
All right.
I mean, if this is in reference to earlier statements I've made about Georgia, all I'll say is that I think Kemp's going to stay popular in Georgia, and then when Kemp's gone, after Kemp's gone, I have deep concerns about the Georgia GOP and the place it's positioned itself. But like as far as like Kemp's prospects go, I didn't think he was going to have any issues.
Okay. American Nerd for 3. Harrison Ford is a better POTUS than Air Force One. I mean, yeah.
The funniest thing too with Kemp though is that like all of the hate like some MAGA has for him wouldn't exist if he like the only reason people hate him is because he didn't throw out the votes in 2020, which he couldn't have done. Like that's literally the only reason anyone hates him. Like he's been like solid on like all the issues, you know? Like what other stuff has he been bad on? Rap. Like you can't name anything.
I mean, again, the thing with Kemp is like he has streaks of being really good and really shitty. It's just his wife just says dumb stuff.
The only time he was shitty though is like at least for MAGA standards is when he refused to throw out the votes.
Well, no, it's just like because his
done.
wife, because he says it as well. It's really his wife. This is really dumb stuff. But...
Well, I understand why his wife got pissed at Trump because like Trump did go heavily against Kemp, which like I can forgive Trump for, but you know, like if you saw your husband being like destroyed by this guy, like it kind of makes sense, you know, like I'm not gonna like freak out that his wife is pissed at Trump for doing that, you know, like.
All right. Do we hold the North Carolina Senate seat? Yes, we do.
Yeah, Cook Political moved it to Lean-R, and it looks like Roy Cooper is going to be a Harvard professor now.
Wow, they're saying for 8 weeks, but it's like, I don't know. It's for only 8
Why
weeks.
would he be doing this? If he was going to run... And my Boston Nationalist, you guys probably know him from Twitter, he made a good point to me. He said, if Roy Cooper was actually, like, heavily considering a Senate run, he'd be, like, going around the state speaking at events and stuff. He wouldn't be going to Massachusetts to do an 8-week teaching like thing. Like that's not what he'd be doing if he was preparing to run for Senate.
That's actually a fair point. Like I think people are gonna argue, well, it's early and like it's only 2025, but yeah, it's like he would be in North Carolina if he was offered a university.
Like look at what's like compare it to like what Scott Brown's doing. Scott Brown is meeting with all these people. He's getting donors. He's doing that. Has Roy Cooper reached out to a single donor? No, he hasn't. Like even this early, people are usually looking for donors, and he could still run. He could do a late run, but it just doesn't seem like he really wants to. I think he just kind of wants to retire.
How old is Roy Cooper? How old is he?
I think he's in like his 70s, isn't he?
Let me look.
Because I thought he was getting up there in age, and that's why I always question why would he run.
He's 67.
Yeah, so he's gonna be like 69 when he gets to the office, right? So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and then Wiley Nickel, it looks like, wants to run already, so...
Good luck!
If it's Wiley Nickel, that might be likely R, especially with low black turnout, like in the midterm. Like, that could be likely R with Wiley Nickel.
Kid and H for 2. Modern-day conservatism / MAGA is a new punk rock. Yeah, it's actually the alternative politics now. Being MAGA. Like, it's actually cool to be MAGA, not this shitty resist liberal crap. Who's Scott Brown? He was the like Luke says, he was like the original moderate MAGA Republican from like 10 years
No,
ago.
I'll explain his ideology. He's pro-choice, but he's super anti-immigration. He's like he's economically populist. He like, and when I say anti-immigration, I don't mean like he's kind of wishy-washy. He opposed DACA. That's how
In
anti-immigration he was. Like
Massachusetts.
he was, yeah, he opposed DACA, and he was like economically populist, but he was like more socially moderate to liberal on like abortion and gay marriage. So it's like, but again, he was in Massachusetts, you know, so it's not like he was like in a safe red state or something.
And he
So
had
he
a better
fit the
voting
state
record
pretty
than
well,
half
and he barely
Republicans.
lost. He barely lost to Warren in 2012 in a presidential year when he ran for re-election. So
Yeah, and
he only lost by
for,
like less than 10. Yeah.
yeah, now he's gonna run in New Hampshire, which he tried a couple years ago, but yeah.
And to be fair, he ran in 2014 against Gene Shaheen and he lost. But it was a pretty close race, and also he had just moved from Massachusetts like a year before, and now he's been solidified in New Hampshire for like more than a decade. So
Yeah.
it's going to be easier for him to sell himself as a New Hampshire resident.
How did he even win in Massachusetts? Well, it was a combination of things. He was super moderate. Well, he ran as a moderate, and
It was an off-year election.
And that was back when
I
Republicans.
I should also say too, he was one of the first backers of Trump in 2015, like very early on backer.
That hurts my brain. The freaking former senator of Massachusetts is like one of the first people that backed Trump. It's beautiful.
There was Mike Castle actually.
Really?
From Delaware. Yeah, he was an early backer.
Mike Castle supported Trump?
Yeah, he did.
I did not know that.
It was funny too because like his Tea Party opponent, I forgot what her name was. She endorsed Clinton.
What? What the hell is up with these Northeastern Republicans? That doesn't make any sense. Which, by the way, that should tell you everything about the Tea Party.
Moderate MAGA. Yeah, the Tea Party was such a fraud movement. Like, I'm so glad they didn't become the anti-establishment and MAGA did.
That hurts my brain. He replaced Ted Kennedy, who was very corrupt. Well, yeah, I mean.
Well, no, Ted Kennedy died.
Well, yeah, he died, but.
And then Martha Coakley, who was the Democratic candidate, it's funny. There was like, I think this channel's name was like Election Story. They made a whole video on the Senate race, but Martha Coakley like thought she was gonna win the election easily, so she just like won the Democratic primary, and then she like took a several-week vacation. And while she was doing that, Scott Brown was like door knocking every door in the state, and then she became like tied in the polls, and then she like immediately rushed back, and she ran the most lackluster campaign because she didn't prepare at all to run. It was hilarious, and then she lost.
All right, American Nerd for 5. Haig Smith on Ukraine deal. The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome for a negotiated settlement. Good.
Well,
it's not. I mean, these people understand. There's no way Russia would allow Ukraine to be part of NATO. No way.
Do people realize that like Ukraine in Ukrainian literally means borderlands? Like, what do you think it's supposed to be? Like, Ukraine was never going to be a country like that would be part of NATO. Like, Russia's always seen it not really as a satellite state, but as like, if not a satellite state, then a neutral state. There was no scenario where Russia would allow them to join NATO, especially as part of a peace deal, because Russia objectively has the upper hand in this conflict.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to remember, I mean, if we're going to talk history, for the most part, like all of the Ukrainian states that kind of existed prior to the Russia Empire glomping it, they were like the Mongols and the Crimean Khanate and like very like brutal, ruthless people that have actually no ethnic connection to the modern day Ukrainians. The modern day Ukrainians are a product of the Russian Empire. They're a product of the Soviet Union. They're a product of all of these things. And their history is intrinsically connected to Russia. And so it was going to be very hard to have Russia let go of that. And so, and like, if you understand that little piece of it, then it kind of makes sense why there's a giant ethnic conflict there. But like, it doesn't matter. They don't need NATO. Effectively, what'll happen is there's either going to be a promise that troops will immediately, from France and America and whoever else, they'll immediately show up in West Ukraine if necessary. or
it'd be
we may
security
have a
guarantees. It'd be just like a
or
guarantee.
yes, we'll have security guarantees and potentially just like troops and bases
My-
in West Ukraine.
My guess is there'll be like a demilitarized zone also. So like a DMZ.
Alright.
Or it'll be
Right,
kind
right.
of like a Cyprus situation where like the UN sets up like kind of like a hard border type thing.
The demilitarized zone has become a lot more stronger of a possibility now, and it would be in northeast Ukraine. Yeah, pretty much everything east of Kiev or Kiev or however you want me to pronounce it, which are the assholes. But yeah, no, it's there'd be a DMZ most likely now, and then the 4 oblasts go to Russia. So
All right. Jacob Hawley for 10. Trump should just merge the populist Republicans with a reform party, create a 3-party system. I hate the 2-party system. Yes, I know you guys may not like ranked choice voting, but it would help third party. Well, the thing is, America has never been a 3-party system. It's always been 2 parties.
No, yeah, the American system makes it impossible. And I wish we had kind of like reform of the system to, but at the same time, it's kind of like we're built in for a 2-party. And also, Trump is like basically taken over the Republican Party fully. Now,
Yeah, he's a
I
part of the
think what's
balls.
more likely is a realignment, because like what people thought for a while was there'd be like the biggest thing for a 3-party system would be like a
Well-
progressive party, like the MAGA movement, and then kind of like a
Wait.
centrist neocon neolib party.
Luke,
But
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We got breaking news out of Ukraine. We have breaking news out of Ukraine. President Trump just spoke to Vladimir Zelenskyy of Ukraine. The conversation went very well. He, like President Putin, wants to make peace. We discussed a variety of topics having to do with the war, but mostly the meeting that is being set up on Friday in Munich, Germany, where Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead the delegation. I'm hopeful that the results of that meeting will be positive. It is time to stop this ridiculous war, where there has been massive and totally unnecessary death and destruction. God bless the people of Russia and Ukraine.
if Trump can end Ukraine, his approval is going to go insane. Like, that's all I'm saying.
We're about to end the war. The war is about to end. So it sounds like they're meeting in Germany.
Maybe-
Zelenskyy advance.
No, but they're going to do it in the first 24 hours like he promised.
He started negotiations.
That's gonna be the bit. That's gonna be the cope if he ends it. They're gonna be like, "But I was told he was gonna end it in 24 hours." Like that's gonna be the cope.
that. Oh, Trump's giving Ukrainian territory to Russia.
But Zelensky's gonna approve of it because they realize, oh wait, the money laundering's done. We can't take any more money from this. Millions of people have died. What's the point of continuing?
Well, I mean, remember, these people wanted to basically get rid of Putin and then nation build in Russia.
Oh yeah, they wanted to take over Russia, so.
Also, for some people, it might be pretty satisfying, but when Ukraine inevitably has their election after the war, the general looks like he wants to run against Zelenskyy, and it looks like he's going to pummel Zelenskyy
Oh,
in the
Zelensky's gonna
election.
get killed. He's gonna get absolutely
You're going to get to watch Zelenskyy get, like, crushed in that election.
Well, no one
so
likes him.
That'll be quite entertaining to
His
watch.
approval's being held up in the fact that they're basically arresting people that disapprove of him. So, yeah, he's gonna kill in the election.
No, I'm like the military general from the war is gonna run against him. It sounds like.
I don't know how much utility there will be in looking at Ukrainian elections. I mean, I know that we're stopping some of the money.
I know. I'm just saying it'll be entertaining to watch Zelenskyy lose.
It will be, but it'll still be like the Ukrainian government itself will still be the most corrupt government in the European.
Oh, I'm not saying it's gonna be like. I'm not saying the new guy's great. I'm just saying Zelenskyy.
Well, no. I'm not saying anybody's good or bad. What I'm saying is like we as the West, maybe not like just America, but a couple of other satellite countries, we basically just functionally control what the Ukrainians say and do, and I don't think that has changed. I don't think we've moved towards changing that. So I have no idea. It's like it just seems kind of I don't know. It might be a moot point to kind of pay attention to what politics is going on in there. Makes more sense to pay attention to well, are our dual nationals still running the country, or like what that's kind of the thing you want to ask.
Yeah. Jacob Hawley for 5. I'm stubborn. Break the 2-party system. I want like 3 to 5 parties. It'll be great. Also, 2000 election was messed with. Reform won 2000. Reform did not win. But here's what I'll say about 2000. Okay, because everyone brings this up. I've always said this. No matter how you look at what happened in 2000, the fact is, if they did not call the election if they did not call Florida for a Gore right away, which again, they illegally did it, by the way. That was before they actually made a law. They called it before the Panhandle closed. Bush would have won. People never talk about that.
A lot of people saw it got called, and that too. I think partially early calls as well are why Trump lost Arizona in 2020, because this is what probably happened. Because Fox called Arizona at poll closing. Remember in 2020 off the exit poll data.
I remember that.
How many people like mega boomers do you think were still waiting in line when they got the notification on the Fox app that Arizona was called for buying? How many of them you think got on the line? Probably enough to win the state.
There should be a law where they can't call it for like an hour or something.
Until there's no more lines left in the state. Unless it's like a state that's like...
Yeah, I just say, go on.
All I can say, anybody like that super chatter that advocates for anything other than the political binary we have in the United States does not pay much attention to the shit show that's going on in the in Europe in general. Every single country that has a multi-party parliamentary system in Europe, I see so much shit that doesn't get done simply because they have like 4 or 5 parties. They have to make a coalition. They have to agree on all this crap. I don't want that system. I want it pure and straight. Either the evil people are running, or the people that are supposed to support us are running. I'm cool with that. I don't want multiple parties.
Dustin Carter for 2. What if we annex Ukrainian territories for resources? We're gonna get resources out of it no matter how. So
I think it would be kind of neat though if we had like a couple like minuscule parties that would just win like a couple seats. Like we used to have that a lot in America.
Oh yeah, we had like a Poppers party. We had like the Silver Party.
I wouldn't mind if that. Like I like having 2 big parties, but I wouldn't mind there being like a couple regional parties that get like a couple seats.
We kind of have that like Vermont. There's like a Vermont Progressive Party. So
it's an alliance with the Democrats.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Lord Rhino for 2. Meeting in Munich Agreement 2. I mean, maybe. My guess is it's being led by Vice President Vance and Rubio. So I'm interested that Trump said Rubio or Vance. Interesting. All right. Let's see. Israel's also a shit show because of the parliamentary system. Yeah, don't they have like an election every day at this point in Israel? It's like
not since the war.
You know what I'm saying? Like beforehand, it was like every other day they had a new election.
Oh, the worst one is like the fucking Netherlands, which is funny because people in America are like 2-party system. The Netherlands is a 50-party system, and people there are still like, I hate every single party on the ballot. like it never, like everyone who's like, I wish we had options I would actually like voting for, and it's like you wouldn't like any of these European parties either. There's always going to be problems with parties.
The only good option...
the 2-party system isn't the problem; it's the establishment. Like,
all right, but yeah. So
go on,
what?
I said go on, rap.
But yeah. So how long before the war ends, though? That's a real question.
30 minutes.
I'm gonna give it a week. I'm saying next Friday we'll get end of the war.
Will it happen before the Wisconsin DPI primary?
Ooh, I don't think so.
I'll give an answer after Munich.
Lettuce. We need someone bring out the lettuce.
All right. So speaking of speaking of weird elections, there was an election that happened last night in New York. I want to talk about before we get to the inflation stuff. So for those
also one thing before I leave, check out this tweet that I put out about Fort Bend County, Texas.
Let's see here.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Trump would have.
Oh yeah, rap. Also, are you gonna be at state convention on May 17th?
We'll see. All right, K-Cup for 5. I knew things 2020 was true when Arnon Mishkin, after Arizona was called and did everything to justify the call, it made no sense at all. Well, the Fox News freaking board sucked. They're full of shit. Well, yeah, it was like it was like 20% in or something. They called it, right?
Oh yeah, I will say a call that they made correctly was Ohio in 2012, and I highly recommend if you guys want to watch some entertainment, look up the Karl Rove meltdown on Fox News in 2012 after they called.
Yeah,
Ohio.
I remember that. He's
this dude, spazzed out and was calling Fox like fake news and stuff. Like,
yeah, I remember. Like, didn't he
that's respectable pre-Trump Republicans.
Respectable. All right, Dustin Carter for 2. We need a Dixie party for Kentucky and Virginia down to Texas and Florida. I mean, maybe. Raptors start talking about inflation and stream out inflation until over an hour into the stream. Well, I'm sorry, but a lot of shit happened with Russia and Tulsi Gabbard and freaking, yeah. But yeah, so speaking
We
of...
need to talk about a George Wallace-style Democrat
God.
returning. Will we get one in 2026?
I don't think so. But yeah, so last night there was an election in Westchester County. No one's
was
talked
live
about
for
it.
it, by the way.
You know, I find it strange. No one is talking about this one. I wonder why. I thought.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe
Rep, did you put
because
my channel name in the
Yes,
description
Luke.
yet?
I'm gonna take it off. You keep asking.
Good. Everyone go sub. I streamed it live, so if you want to watch the recap, John Rose was on, Boston Nationalist was on, and some other guy was on.
Yeah,
go watch
so
it. It was a good
For
stream.
those that don't know, this is Westchester County. It was it's a very Democrat area in New York, and the Democrat won obviously, but not by the
It
margin
was the
some
same
people are
margin as
saying.
24.
Yeah. And the reason it's a big deal is because we've known, I've been talking about this a lot in the last couple of years. Republicans usually shit the bed in these low turnout races. No one voted here. It had 80,000 votes. That's pathetic. I think for the last election, it was like 200,000, 300,000 people. I think it was. So the turnout was pathetic. But Republicans did about the same without Trump on the ballot.
They did the exact same. I think it was like 0.8% more Democrat than 2024. But here's the reason it's big. In 2024, it moved 10 points right from 2020.
Yeah.
So it's a red trending county, and Republicans did the exact same as they did in 2024, which goes to show that Republicans, even in safe blue races, are turning out. Now, I think the big indicator for the biggest kind of off-year election that's happening this year, which is going to be Wisconsin Supreme Court, the biggest indicator for that is going to be the Wisconsin DPI primary
That's next week,
which I believe Real American will be going live for.
Yeah, we'll
and
go
I will
live
be
for that
on
one.
here. I was gonna go live on my own, but you know what? I think I'll go on Rap stream. But you gotta shout out my channel on that stream though.
Okay, yeah. Jacob
Yeah,
Hawley
and then
for,
I'll be on.
Jacob Hawley for 20. If the two parties keep drifting further right and left, then who am I supposed to vote for? I mean, moderate Bernie bro is so frustrated. I like Trump's populism.
That is BS. The Republican Party is not drifting further right. I think that's
I gotta finish.
Yeah, go on.
I like Trump's populism, but I'm fine with the gay marriage as my sister's married in one. Well, listen, the thing with the Republican Party is like now it's more like there's factions within the party. That's what it comes down to. There's be like more moderate, like MAGA Republicans like Tulsi, like RFK, and there'll be more conservative ones like Vance, like Hawley, you know.
I'm kind of making a whole video about this someday, about like this myth that Trump made the Republicans like a hard right party, because it's not true. He just made it a big tent. And like, if anything, like he's opened the party to more socially liberal views that were allowed beforehand. Like there were before Trump, like there was no one really supporting gay marriage in like the 2012 primary. But then after Trump, most Republican like candidates generally support it now. I get a large chunk of the base opposes it, but like it's not like it's an issue that we allow discussion on, and like I think that's a good thing. And like allowing discussion too, we're a big tent too on the abortion issue as well. Like we've got some people like the live action types who I obviously I'm not a big fan of, who like want a full on national ban and think Trump's a traitor for not wanting it. And then you've got more moderate people who are just like leave it up to the states, like myself, you know. So.
All right, but yeah. So again, the whole thing with it just comes out of factions. That's what's gonna happen now with the Republican Party, and that's why I always think the two-party system actually works better.
Yeah, that's what we have. That's what we have instead of parties. Is we have factions. I kind of wish though that there were like more like, because it seems like Congress now, like the only kind are just Republican establishment and Freedom Caucus. I kind of wish some of these other factions would get into Congress generally. Like I'm hoping maybe RFK could like run for a House seat after he's done in Trump's cabinet. I think he could win a primary in like one of those red California seats, you know. I kind of want to see more people like that in Congress, you know. I want to see more factions, because right now we've really only got two factions in Congress. Like the Freedom Caucus and the like establishment. I think we should have more
Right.
voices than those two.
American Nerd for 5 rap. Did you see that video of that Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Dexter wanting to F Trump and wants to be his Valentine or something? I saw that.
Oh yeah, that shit.
These
Dude,
people
I
are
saw this
deranged.
shit too today. They were singing this like pro-union song from like the 20th century.
Oh yeah, I
It was
saw
like
that.
and they replaced it with fighting Doge. It was the most cringe shit on the
Well,
planet.
I mean,
Wasn't this the same group that said that we have to F Trump?
yeah. They want to F
Yes.
Trump.
They wanna... Yeah, but you forgot to put a comma in there. We will.
You know,
They want to have certain relations with that man.
That kind of reminds me of when Chuck Schumer was talking about January 6th and he called it the erection. He was
There
like,
was,
Trump
there was a lot of
incited the
Democrats
erection.
that did that.
you know, I just
Yeah.
can't believe though. It's like the Democrat Party. They are looking so out of just what do you call these people? It's beyond like deranged at this point. It's like, what's worse than deranged?
Saviors of
Dude,
democracy.
we're never gonna. Maybe I was wrong the other day when I said don't underestimate your enemy, because maybe we should. Maybe we are overestimating them.
Well,
Like
I
maybe
don't
they just
I don't
aren't
want to
this.
underestimate them yet, but like
I know, but dude,
that's
do you really think the Democrats are gonna have like a future if they
I
keep
don't-
doing this like
they're gonna
this
be
shit?
killed. One of these elections, they're just gonna get blown out completely.
2024 was the wake up for them,
And they refuse to wake
I
up.
think.
They're tripling down on
they're-
it.
The big thing for Dems is that they're a religious cult, and the problem with being a religious cult as a political party is that your money comes from the religionists, the devout worshippers, and your constituents, your actual voting, comes from people who just want gas to be lower.
These
No,
idiots.
and too, the other thing is like their new chairman, and their new chairman refuses to say they did anything wrong. He's just like,
No,
he's
he
just
wants
like,
Harrison
we
to
don't
run
need to
again.
change anything.
They want
We
Harrison
just
to run
lost
again.
because of the only reason we lost was because of the global anti-incumbency wave. Like that's the funniest cope, and it's like, please keep thinking
They
that.
blamed it on
Please
that.
keep thinking that.
Racism and sexism.
Yeah,
they want Harris back again. They want Harris to run it back. I mean, just these
You
idiots.
shall beat Vance. Vance is unlikable. Remember, he was awkward in that donut
When
shop.
Vance wins
It's
350
weird.
electoral votes, it comes within 10 in like New York or California.
No rap. He was kind of awkward at that donut shop. It's
Oh,
over.
gosh.
He's so unlikable. He doesn't have the joy.
Well, there are a couple super chats. We'll get back to that. Jacob Holly for 10. You think Dems will die as a party, the GOP become one party like the Air of Good Feelings, and break into two again, and you'll have a neocon neoliberal party versus a big tent right populist party? Well, okay.
What I could see though is Republicans dominating the Senate like the Dems did. I think we're gonna have the Senate for a while.
Yeah.
That's what I could see.
What I think's to happen long term though is if Democrats, if they don't wake up, they're just gonna die as a party. They're just gonna become irrelevant. But if they do wake up, they might win back some of the Tulsi Gabbard types. But I don't think they will. So
I will say though, I think Republicans will kind of become the natural governing party, and what that basically means is like they're the party that like is usually going to be in power unless they really fuck up.
yeah, it's
Like
more
that's what's going to happen.
They have one
It'll
bad
be like
election.
for every 2 Republican presidents, there'll be 1 Democrat president. I could see a system like that. Because I believe that's how we were most of the 20th century. Like we only really got Democratic presidents when the Republicans fucked up.
Oh yeah, it was like Great Depression and then
Yes, that's actually kind of quietly been the case since the end of the Civil War until like very recently. And that's because like Democrats had typically been the party of like Congress and Republicans were the party of the executive. That's just generally how it was.
all right.
Until recently when it kind of got evened out.
Let's see, American Nerd for 5. Rap, I get the need for the Republican Party to be a big tent, but we can't have too many factions, as that could cause bad chaos in the future primaries. Well, I think this is perfect.
Well, no, you need
Luke,
it because. Okay, what? Okay, go on.
Well, what I was gonna say is, I think it's a perfect balance right now, where it's like we agree on like core issues like freedom of speech, freedom of health, and all that stuff. That's what we agree upon. Every faction within the party agrees on that. There's stuff we disagree with, but those are the core issues right now. So I don't think we got to worry about it that much.
But yeah, you need a big tent because only about 35 to 40% of the country is like would call themselves conservative, and you need obviously a lot more than 35 to 40%. So people are like, every Republican should just be a full-on conservative and nothing else. It's like if you did that, like you wouldn't be able to really be able to win. That's why Democrats like there's a lot more people who are just like brainless Democrats who just kind of like repeat their exact same talking points. And that's why it seems like they generally have a bigger base than them, but we have the capability of like winning more votes than the Dems do. It's
Yeah.
just like Dems
The
are more
way
of a
that I
hive mind, you know?
I hope
way
Jasmine
that
Crockett
I
runs for Senate.
the way that I see, like, what are the moderates asking of the Republican Party? And it seems like, okay, number one, they want clean air, clean water, like very basic environmental stuff. They don't need all the poof, they don't need all the fluff. They just want clean air, clean water, clean streets. Okay. And then on the like healthcare stuff, they want some Maha kind of RFK stuff. The Republican Party is willing to deal with that. We wouldn't have been able to 20 years ago. We can now because we've submitted to Obamacare, I guess. Okay, so they just want health stuff, they want clean environment, and then like they just kind of really just want us to not on the federal level like get assholey about social issues. So and guess what the fix for that is? It's what Luke said earlier, federalism. If you federalize a lot of these social issues where people just have high contentions and a minority of the country is conservative on, then the minority of the country can enact those social policies in their states, and then the rest of the country can go be hedonist, jerks or whatever.
All right.
But yeah, no, I feel that's a good coalition.
That's actually, yeah, I think the coalition right now it's sustainable. We just gotta be careful with it because it can blow up any time. It's one of those things where yeah, it's easy to hold on to, but you get a freaking a Mitt Romney type in there, you're fucked. But I doubt that's gonna happen.
Or if you get a MTG type, you're also fucked.
Yeah.
Like you can't go too far in the moderate or establishment direction. The moderate or like the extreme direction, because then you'll lose a lot of people. And that's what's gotta happen.
K cover 5. Speaking of effing Trump, did Doug Emhoff sleep with him yet? I mean, Harris tweeted on November 3rd that her husband would be sleeping with the president. That's real.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Dustin Carter for 2. How were Republicans in Vermont? Flipping the lieutenant governor race, almost flipped the state legislator. That was a big surprise. Right trends and Fulton and Gwinnett are underrated. Yeah, so Vermont, it's still a Democrat, but that was weird.
To be fair, the guy who won the lieutenant governor race was to the left of Phil Scott.
I
so
know,
I wouldn't
but
really.
Like, we almost won the state legislator, which I know it's Vermont. It's weird, but it's still kind of funny. But yeah, the thing in Georgia, he's talking with Fulton and Gwinnett, that those counties may save us. So, long term, but we shall see. We shall see. But alright, so, back to the Westchester County executive stuff. The Democrats, compared to special elections, they did awful here. This was bad. This was a bad performance. Again, I'm not saying this proves anything, but it might be the first sign that, oh, wait, Democrats really are hated. Even in Westchester County. Which didn't vote for, like, it's more like 10 points right in 2024, right?
Yeah, it did, and it was the exact same margin as that swing right, So Republicans actually turned out for this. Like, that's what goes to show. Like, they're not even overperforming the specials. Yeah, they overperformed slightly in that Virginia special earlier this year, but that was just because of, like, the snowstorm on Election Day. Like, there was, like, a blizzard and no one could get outside, so basically all the votes were early. Yes. That's the only reason that was the case there,
What I think's going to start happening is Democrats, they're just losing more and more of the voters. No one wants to vote for them. No one's enthusiastic to vote for them. It's like, why would anyone want to vote for Dems? They look completely out of touch with everything. I mean, you're going to.
That's why if the Wisconsin GOP blows that Supreme Court race, I'm going to be so pissed at them. I'm a bit more
confident now. I'm a bit more confident because Crawford's running a shit campaign. I mean, that's just a freaking disaster. But
well, yeah, it's gonna be within 5 no matter what. This isn't Dan Kelly anymore.
And now we have now TPUSA. It sounds like they're actually doing stuff now. So we shall see.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. I don't know the specifics, but it sounds like they're telling the Wisconsin GOP to.
Well, it sounds like they're like flying people in. I don't know. I haven't gotten a phone call yet. Because if they do end up coming, like, and rehiring the same people, I'll get a phone call. So I'll keep you in touch, Rap, with that.
And so it sounds like Scott Presser's coming back too in Wisconsin. So.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, he's on his way one of these days. I know. He's focused on like rural Wisconsin now, and I think Turning Point's going to be focused on Milwaukee and WoW. And I'm kind of gonna. I might travel a bit this spring and like kind of help out in some areas across the state when I got time to.
All right. So, yeah, I think we're Wisconsin.
I'm just concerned about the money in that race.
What, real Texan?
I said I'm just concerned about the money in that race.
Well, it's not as bad as Dan Kelly.
It's not even that bad. Like, she got She got like 3.5 million, and Schimmel got almost 3 million. So it wasn't like an
It was like
insane
Dan
like.
Kelly was like 10-1 or whatever.
Yeah, Dan Kelly, I don't think rose a million the entire. And Schimmel actually has about the same amount of ads on TV that
Well,
Crawford
that's
has.
one
So
thing I think
like,
that's the X factor here. He spent early. He was the first one on the air. So we shall see, but
also, I will say, Americans for Prosperity has been out door knocking since November for this race too.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we have an early advantage. I think Democrats playing catch up now. So,
And here's the thing too: if Dane turnout is low, we'll win.
yeah.
It's that simple.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
Because WoW, here's what I'll say: WoW is going to be like, I can't say Assad margins anymore. Is going to be CC margins for Schimmel. That's what I'll say. He's very loved in WoW. Like he's from WoW. Waukesha like is going to come out big for him. Like that place, he got dictator margins there. The issue is Democrats usually a very high turnout in Dane, but with like what we're seeing with Dems not turning out for a lot of these elections, Dane might not have the highest turnout. And if Dane doesn't have the highest turnout, that's how it is. And one of the things too, undecideds don't really matter in this race. This isn't really a race where like the independents decide because independents aren't really going to be voting. It's going to be who gets the base out more. And in an election like this, in reality, it's not really who gets the base out more. It's which base is more depressed, which base isn't going to turn out. And we'll see. We'll see. I guess that DPI primary will kind of indicate a bit.
if we win that race, they're screwed. They are getting killed.
If Brittany Kinzer gets over 50%, because she's the conservative candidate and there's two liberals, if she gets over 50% in the primary, like it still goes to a runoff. But if she gets over 50%, or if she even gets like 45%, because a lot of people might not, like a lot of conservatives might not turn out for that because it's like there's no competitive conservative primary. But if she gets,
oh sorry,
if she gets over 45% of the vote next week Tuesday. All I'm saying is Crawford's probably cooked.
Well, yeah,
that's what I'll say. But I won't be on the stream.
That's not only a very low turnout race; it's a very Democrat position. Democrats usually do very good at position. If they barely win that race,
did you get out and vote yet for Kinzer?
No, I'm voting election day. So,
all
right.
Yeah, there won't be a line for that.
Yeah,
so you'll
that's
get
why I was not worried about it. Dustin Connor for 2. The new Republican for Vermont Lieutenant Governor is a staunch pro-gun person. I'll take it. Jacob Hawley for 5. Americans for Prosperity, that's a Koch brothers proposal. Kind of interested both Ro Kahana and Betty Johnson both hate them. Well, Americans for Prosperity.
I know, yeah. I will say, in Wisconsin, the people. Here's the thing. There's a difference between the national group and them in Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, they're a lot better than the national group.
Oh, yeah,
the national group is like. The national one is like a bunch of like neocon Nikki Haley supporters, but the Wisconsin one, almost all of them are like MAGA Trump people.
Yeah, so the Wisconsin ones, they don't piss around, but.
Okay, they were handing out Trump literature in the primary in Wisconsin. Most of the people who work for them, like they're not the same as the national group.
But all right, so now that we talked about that, I think we have to discuss what's happening with inflation. The whole point of the stream was the new report. So. For those that don't know, they finally released a new CPI for the month of January, and oh boy, we might have a problem here. So CPI rose this month to 3%. It was above expectations as 2.9%. Core CPI went up to 3.5%. Yikes. So inflation started to go back up, but you cannot blame Trump for this one. You just can't. You know why? Because it's been 4 straight months of going up and taking us what the Fed did in September. Everyone forgot about this. Just take what the Fed did with the interest rates a couple months ago.
Yeah.
They cut it. When inflation was still very high, right before the election, these assholes of the Fed, they said, oh yeah, we're going to cut the interest rates. And now we're potentially go back to sky high.
Can Trump fire that dude? Can Trump fire Jerome Powell? Like he sucks. Can we get a new guy in there? Or does he not have the ability to fire him?
How would that work? You're the intellectual here.
I'm the intellectual, apparently. No, I don't believe that Trump can directly fire him, but I think he can ask him to resign. I think that the last time I saw Powell wasn't going to resign. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. Uh, this week, Jerome Powell, this is post-election, he was asked after the election if he would step down or if Trump asked him to resign. So yeah, Trump can ask him to resign, but he can't like directly take care of it. And Powell's just kind of sitting up there. Um, so that's kind of the main issue. I don't think Trump can directly fire him. He can ask, but he can't do anything else. And Powell's just kind of sitting there. It'll be funny to see exactly how the Trump administration tackles the Fed because they have obviously introduced some very radical ideas on the campaign trail. Trump mocked the Federal Reserve during the campaign trail. JD Vance talked about how um, he would just like to kind of get rid of it.
Well, I mean, like,
Um,
I'm sorry, but the Fed, it's like, listen, I understand the original intentions of it. Listen, what they pulled in 2024 is the scummiest thing I've ever seen. Right before the election, with inflation still high, don't let them fool you, it's still like above 3% or whatever. They were saying, yeah, we gotta cut the interest rates now. Right before the election. I wonder why they did that. It's as if they wanted to give Harris a boost, and Politico could say, the economy is booming, and the American people are lying about it. That's what happened.
It's actually really amazing how much of a win-win move it was if you just desperately want the Democrat to win. Because if you do it, then it looks better for your Democrat candidate. And then when they lose, then inflation goes up. So
Yeah.
it's win-win. Like if they win, yeah, you got them elected. If they lose, well, interest goes up and the next president looks bad.
You know, we're playing games with Murkowski and them. We found corruption charges against them, or we're about to, if they step out of line. Why can't we do the same with Powell? Just go look at his bank account. See how much money he's gotten from certain people. I'm very curious to see. Because it's unfreaking believable that they did this right before the election, and now they're going to blame Trump for this. This had nothing to do with Trump, which, funny enough, there was actually an index out there. It's called the, I believe it's called the True Inflation Index. And they actually track daily inflation. And they were right in January that it went way up. But in the month of February, right now, it's gone way down. So we'll see what actually happens in February, which is the first month of Trump's term, full month. But the fact that this is going up again is ridiculous. But just shows you the Fed does not give a shit. And they gotta be reined in. I don't know how you can. But in a perfect world, we put Ron Paul in charge. But I don't think that can happen. Well, I know. When you put Ron Paul in charge, it would fix it.
By the way, slightly off topic, but apparently Stephen A. Smith says he'll be president if he doesn't want to, if he can't, hold on.
Bruh.
Stephen A. Smith says he would be U.S. president as long as he doesn't have to campaign.
Bruh. He has to campaign.
And did you guys really expect this freaking clown Stephen A. Smith to become the Democrat candidate?
No. I mean,
Oh, no, there's no way.
People understand
No.
that Stephen A. Smith, he's doing this as a publicity stunt. That's what it comes down to. Watch a shitty podcast.
I mean, they only want people who have political experience to become president. Although they'll have, certain exceptions
Well,
if you're one of them.
I think Democrats are so delusional that they want their own version of Trump. That's what I think they want.
Oh yeah, they want probably. I mean, they want Mark Cuban or Oprah.
But the difference, these idiots don't understand. Trump is a unique person. You cannot replicate Trump. You just can't. But, anyways.
All right, well, I gotta go.
American Nerd for 5. Rap, what should and must Trump do right now to end the inflation crap? Because if this doesn't get solved immediately, we might be in trouble in 2026. The only thing he can really do right now is cut spending and deregulate. Now, those are two things he can really do. Which I think is going to do wonders. I think it already is, but again, we won't know. Sorry.
We won't know, and you're absolutely right. You said exactly what has to happen. We have to cut spending, and there's not really a lot else Trump can do about this except for unleash the energy market, which is underway. The faster that Congress can pull its britches up and cooperate with the executive branch on unleashing American energy, getting as much done as possible, building as much energy infrastructure as possible, that will make the price of everything go down. It'll make CPI go down. And on top of that, yeah, if Doge continues cutting spending, if the cutting of spending that Doge is doing accelerates in any way once we get past, if we can get past these district court judge blocks and we can just accelerate the spend cutting, that is going to seriously affect inflation. That's where inflation comes from, guys. It's an invisible tax on you because the government is deficit spending.
Exactly. You notice something before, again, I know it's completely different eras, but before 1913, there was like no inflation in American history. Before the Fed was a thing, there was like, yeah, you had inflation, obviously, but it was like zero for 100 plus years. But after the Fed was established, that's when we started having big inflation. I wonder why that happened. But it's like, oh, you keep spending money, yeah, inflation's gonna go up. Like Elon Musk said, like John said, it's a invisible tax on the American people. So cut spending. That's the best way to do it. Of course, there are other ways to do it, but anyways, M for 2, it's from Biden's budget. Well, yeah, it is. But yeah, I think right now the only things Trump could do is deregulate, because I don't think people would understand how much it causes inflation. Regulation's a big factor in it. But I would also say cut spending. Freeze it. That's the only way you could really do it. I still think that's the only way. I still have doubts about the Fed really being able to control interest rates that much, or inflation that much, but just my opinion. Just my opinion, bud.
Well, I mean, to go to your point of deregulating, you have to understand that increased economic mobility comes from multiple directions when you deregulate. Well, first of all, with just the businesses that exist already. When you remove regulations, you're removing an operational cost. You're removing all the lawyers that they have to hire, or even if they have to keep the hires, if they're a big company, they charge less hours for the lawyers. And that's a sad thing for the lawyer industry, but it's a great thing for literally everyone else. And so you have the businesses that currently exist have lower operating costs and thus can actually lower their prices. But then you also have new small businesses that have been blocked from actually entering into competition with the larger businesses because of regulation. Now there's more economic mobility there, there's no more wealth being generated there, and they're able to offer cheaper products than the larger companies as long as those regulations get out of the way of them starting their business. And then you have foreign investment, which is a really big thing Trump's getting into. Like, what's the point of the tariffs? It's to move massive amounts of industry, massive amounts of business, massive amounts of economic wealth into the country and wherever we do it. So yeah, and so if corporate tax gets lowered and Trump continues on the tariff tirade, and a lot of people come into the market, you have foreign investment, you have small businesses growing, and you have the existing companies with lower operating costs. All of that lowers prices, guys. All of it.
And like that's I've always believed the best way to do it. I think that's the only way you really can. And that's why I'm saying the next year. Now, if Trump could get inflation down in a year, his approval is gonna go way up. But I'm assuming that we're gonna see inflation go up a little bit for the next couple of months. But that's because of Biden's policy. People forget that in the final 2 months of his presidency, Biden blew up the entire building on the way out. He blew it up. He signed a bunch of executive orders that killed what was left the energy industry, fucked everything up, and it screwed Trump over. That's what he did. So
he wasn't even fully aware of what he was doing, because you had Speaker Mike Johnson go in into Biden, and he says, "Why did you pause the LNG or like exports or whatever?" And Biden couldn't give him an answer. He didn't. Well, first of all, when he first asked, Biden didn't even know he had signed the executive order. So whoever was running the table after the election was like, how do we do as much damage as possible to this economy before we can? You heard the quote from federal employees. They're saying, we're on the Titanic. We're trying to, we're on the boat. We're throwing all the gold bars into the ocean as quickly as we can before Trump gets in. And you just have to remember that's a horrible, horrible thing that they did to this country. And it shows their open spite and hatred towards you for voting for someone they don't like. But it also just shows, like, and I keep bringing back the example because it's really important. Reagan's miracle did not happen until March of his next election year.
Yeah.
Like it took it took almost a solid 3.5 years for Reagan to get his economic policies off the ground and actually grow the GDP. And when it did grow, it grew a lot.
Now I think. Oh, sorry, I think you're done.
But no, that's the end of it. It's just that simply Reagan. It took 3 years for Reagan to do that. That's the point. It's gonna take Trump time. You got to give him time.
I say here because I think with Reagan that was the mess he was given, a freaking mess. But this is pretty bad also. But we're not 20% inflation yet, but it's just one of those things where I think Trump is, because most of the stuff, he can just sign an executive order, he'll solve it. Because what happened, I mean, what happened in 20 or 40 years ago, that's not what really happened with Biden. Biden was just incompetent. He just signed executive orders that killed the energy industry, had no replacement for it, and then energy prices went up. That's what he did. And he spent God knows how much money on crap. So
I think a lot of the pain of what we're going through is hidden, and the reason I say that it might be more similar than you might think is because our inflation rates actually should be way higher.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
That's true.
they're reduced now. They're reduced down. There's actually Nick Freitas had a wonderful podcast on this yesterday. The interest rates are lower than they should be because there's so much international dependency on the US dollar. They need dollars, they take the dollars, and because the demand goes up, we're able to actually keep we're actually it's interesting. Interest rates actually would be a lot higher if people did not want our dollar so badly. But they do. They really want our dollar, and so that's actually staving off a lot of it. So I don't know what the real inflation rate would be if that wasn't the situation, but
oh, probably triple
yeah,
that. Probably 9%.
I don't know, but either way, I just saying, yeah, it's what Biden did to this economy. It's a lot worse than anybody could even
I didn't think
imagine.
about that. Like, yeah, with the U.S. dollar, duh. That's probably why inflation isn't so bad. But
Yeah. But
well,
yeah,
also,
I'm not like a big economics guy, but I think if you are an economics person or you want to understand more, look at the podcast Nick Freitas did yesterday. It was really good.
well, to be fair, also the BLS probably lied about the inflation, anyways.
Yes.
They probably lied. I mean, like, they got caught the jobs report. They had to redo the entire report of 2024, and they had to revise it down a million jobs. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were full of shit. It's like triple what they actually claimed. But we shall see. American Art for 2. Rap. Isn't Ron Paul too old to be the Fed chair? Just put him like the Fed czar or something. Where he's just in charge. But yeah, Ron Paul should be put there. Wouldn't piss around. So American Nerd for 3. Remember the Whip Inflation Now campaign from Ford? No. We need to seriously cut spending while extending middle-class tax cuts. Well, that's what we're doing. So, they proposed a shitty bill today that that's not going to get through. But my hope is we cut, like, actual spending. Well, we may not have to cut any spending if we just get rid of the fraud. We have so much fraud that might be our entire deficit right there. The fraud and waste. $2 trillion.
I mean, based off of what, if you confine the fraud, waste, and abuse, and like the stuff that Musk is hiding, I think he like found the total amount he thinks he could get squeeze out of the budget, I think was like $1.7 trillion or something like that.
That's based on our entire deficit right there.
No, almost, yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, just do minor cuts on freaking stuff we don't need. So, but that's what he's estimating. I still don't think he realized how bad it was. I mean, USAID's completely fraud. It's fraudulent. The entire organization. So, we shall see, but yeah. Let's see. But yeah, it's a lot of money, and we gotta just cut it.
Yeah, there's something. I put something in general.
Yeah, the Slovenia stuff. Right? Slovakia. Slovakia Prime Minister writes personal letter to Elon Musk to investigate and inform him about U.S. aided funded entities. Well, that's one thing that's gonna piss off a lot of the world. I think they're gonna realize. Oh wait, USA did what with their money? Spent it on who? Fun.
Yeah, it's one of these things where we think Doge, it's like, oh, it's the big thing happening in America, but then you have to wonder how many countries are going to have their politics affected by losing US funding.
All right, American Art for 2. Look it up, Rap. It was really stupid. I will. We should all hope that's true. I never imagined it could be that much. Well, it's $2 trillion probably. The amount of fraud and waste. Again, when they look at Social Security, that's gonna be the big one. The Social Security of the Pentagon. I don't know what Republicans are doing. Why the hell should we give more money to the Pentagon? Why? What the hell are we doing? Those assholes don't need more money. They probably spend half the money on contractors anyways. So I don't get why they need to spend even more. It's stupid. All right. I think Trump will get it done. I think he will too. I think he will, but it's just kind of scary that the inflation started to go back up a little bit. But that's because of Joe. Joe effing us over at the 11th hour. So, but all right. I think that's everything. Any last thoughts, anybody?
I was just to add to that, you know, Musk was saying in the Oval Office with Trump, he was basically saying, there's people who are 100, like, would allegedly be 150 years old whose social security numbers are being used to access funds. And he's like, well, either they need a Guinness Book of World Records medal or something, or we're using dead people's social security numbers. We're using we're using the same social security number multiple times. Based off, like I said, some of you guys understand I used to work for CMS. And what I can tell you is that is exactly what's going on. We are funding large immigrant families' healthcare through fraudulent Social Security use. And back when I was working there, you're not allowed to say anything about it, unless you just want to lose your job. So yeah, I can tell you guys, I saw it like face first. I had to speak to multiple families, and they're not all Hispanic. There are Oriental-based people doing that same thing. There's people, I remember talking to one Arabic family that was abusing this. It's people all over the world have been abusing our healthcare system with fake social security numbers. So,
well, I mean, when Elon said that they don't check for duplicate numbers, when I heard that just, how many people are on the system that shouldn't be on it?
Too many, and so they're gonna find a lot there when they dig into it.
And knowing that
So,
they probably get full benefits. So people have worked their entire lives here. They paid a social security their entire life. They get nothing.
Oh no, that was the most frustrating part about it to me, because I was specifically working with Obamacare.
Oh God!
And I found out the illegals that are using like fraudulent information to get benefits, they get better benefits than anybody domestically. They get the best benefits. Like the people that are the poorest of poor that can actually like still qualify for Obamacare, they're getting those benefits. They're getting the best possible benefits a group of people can get. Yeah.
But our citizens get nothing, and they paid into it.
Oh yeah, our citizens get nothing, and the more money you make, the less you get out of it. So,
just freaking, it's a scam. What a freaking
very unfortunate. Joke. Very unfortunate.
Magic Show for 3.5. How bad is a fraud and abuse? Oh, wait for them to audit the Pentagon, which I think Elon Musk needs better security at this point. Just Elon better get Secret Service protection, or better than that. He needs like freaking, I don't know. Just don't go to the Pentagon by yourself. American Art for 3. How will RFK vote go for tomorrow? RFK is going to get confirmed. If Tulsi Gabbard got through, come on. RFK is going to get through. Inflation will go down a bit when you're not funding a war. Well, yeah, there's a lot of money to be just not spending crap. So, we shall see. We shall see. But alright, everybody, I think that's it. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends.
No, Rob, we need you to go live all afternoon. We need you to stay live. The viewers demand a 24-hour rap stream. That's what they said.
Nope. Alright, we'll see you guys in the next stream, video, or wherever you see us at. Of course, follow John Rose and Luke on their respective accounts and all that stuff. So.
Yes, Great Lake Perspective. Is it in the description of this video or the last one?
If you keep asking, I'll take it out.
Okay, yeah, go click the link, sub to me. I'm doing a video, I'm doing a Senate prediction. I'm getting my first Senate prediction out later. And I should be live tonight as well. And John Rose, too, also does phenomenal streams because he is currently banned from YouTube. From Twitter. Because he made a certain remark.
Yeah, if you're, yeah, well, no, I was suppressed for my political belief that people should be executed. No, but yeah, I'll be on my channel. I'll probably do a stream if Luke's not streaming more the rest of this week. I'll probably get one out tomorrow or Friday. But anyways,
is this like the real American
look forward to seeing you guys.
What is this, the news?
Yeah,
network?
I won't be streaming tomorrow, so do your stream tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
I'm doing one today, though.
All right, see everybody. We should be back. Hopefully by the end of the week we get a peace deal in Ukraine, but we shall see.
Cool.
And Monday, DPI race. So I assume you won't do a morning stream then on Monday.
Tuesday.
I
it is.
assume.
It's Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Tuesday. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, I'll be evening stream. So, all right, we'll see you guys next stream video wherever you see us at. Godspeed to all of you.